Here's the algebraic formula used in computing your course grade as we go through the semester. The unknown x is your grade. This should be the only surprise in the semester. We can't predict what that grade will be because we don't know how you're going to do on the tests or other assignments that are graded. But here's how it will work. There shouldn't be any surprise in the mathematics. In the numerator, what we have are all of the points you have earned, that's the first term, plus any extra credit that you've earned, minus any earned points in a test that we dropped. Generally, I drop your lowest score, so that would be this portion right here. Your numerator consists of the points earned plus the extra credit minus any points that we're dropping, and then the denominator consists of the total points that are possible minus test points that are dropped. And we divide this quantity into that quantity, and we get your final grade. To keep it simple, we take this quantity and express it as a proportion of 100. So an A would be 90 out of 100, or anything between 90 and 100% of 100 points. B would be 80 to 89, expressed as a proportion of 100. Every semester I make it a point to let students know that if they fall on the borderline, let's say they're within 1 percentage point of an A, I always give the benefit of the doubt to the student who gets very close to the higher grade and just give them the higher grade. So let's say you had an 89%, then I would give you the A. Next, let's take a look at an actual spreadsheet in Excel to see how the formula works in practice. There are 4 types of scores to keep in mind. 15 points per session for participation, roll calls occasionally to give students 5 points extra credit on those occasions, and sometimes there's an unannounced or an announced test, usually worth about 100 points, sometimes a bit more than that. Then there are the weighted exams, which are the midterm and the final exam. A crucial part of this spreadsheet is this portion right here. If you look to this element, you see a formula up here that expresses the mathematics of this formula right here. So we got to translate that into the language of good old Excel. So it would look something like this. We start in column R and go all the way over to column BH. That's a pretty wide spread in the spreadsheet. And we're on row 3. We're going to subtract out the lowest score, divide by the total number of possible points, which appears in this cell and row, and we're going to subtract the 100 points that were possible on that test, which we're throwing out, and we multiply this entire quantity by 100 to get it up to the proportion that we want to use for our UL scale. Finally, let's take a couple of problems. Let's plug in some numbers. Suppose a student earns 1,500 points out of a possible 2,000. One test worth 100 points is discarded because it was the lowest score at 50 points for that student. That student also earned 20 points of extra credit. What's the grade? Here's the formula. Plug in the numbers. 1,500 goes here. 20 points of extra credit goes here. The 50 points that we're throwing out from the numerator goes here, a negative. And in the denominator, we're throwing out 100 points from the possible because the student didn't attempt one of the tests. The result, 1,500 plus 20 minus 50 is 1,470, divided by 2,000 minus 100 is 1,900. 1,900 into 1,470 is 77 over 100, which is equal to a C. Given the same scenario, here's another problem. How many points would the student need to move up to the A category if 90 minus 77 is equal to 13, and the denominator we already know is 1,900? 1/100th of 1,900 is 19, so if the student has to move 13 percentage points, 13 times 19 gives the correct answer, which is 247 points are needed. Now let's check that number in our algebraic formula. X is equal to 1,470 plus 247 divided by 1,900. If we calculate this number, we get 1,470 plus 247 is 1,717 divided by 1,900, and we get the end result of a grade at 90.37. The result is we verify the formula. It actually works, and we're able to calculate how many points a person would have to add in order to get a higher grade.